Mr. President, people in India would be welcoming your decision to extradite Habur Rana to...
I can't understand a word he's saying.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman, putting out a webinar, doing a webinar to help illegals avoid, I guess, apprehension.
Well, here we go. I think this is the moment a lot of us have been waiting for, and I even predicted this on this channel just a few videos ago that eventually a member of government was most likely going to get called out either by Tom Homan or the Department of Justice for illegally helping illegal immigrants. So in this video, we are going to highlight what's happening, and we also have a ton of other new meltdowns. So before we start this video, please like the video. It helps out so much. And others get to see the video as well. Let us begin.
Giving tips about how to continue to remain in the country and ultimately game the system.
And I sent an email today to the Deputy Attorney General. At what level is that impediment? Is that impediment? I'm not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor. Is that impediment? Is that impeding our law enforcement efforts? If so, what are we going to do about it? Is she crossing the line? So I'm working with the Department of Justice and finding out. Where is that line that they cross? So maybe AOC is going to be in trouble now, but I need the AOG to opine on that. But because there's impediment, it's impediment in my opinion. I'm not a prosecutor.
Okay, now let's watch the video from AOC and you guys can form your own opinion, but make sure you guys know this context. If you are an illegal immigrant, you do have rights. You do have the right to remain silent and so on, things like that. However, since you came into the country illegally, you are a criminal and that's where the gray area is.
So, number one, if you live in a community with a lot of immigrants, know your rights. That's one tangible thing you can do that I want you to do. This dude was whining his ass off because ICE went into the city of Chicago and Chicago had prepared for them. Community organizers, activists, and their mayor and local elected officials who were solid on this issue, they educated the city on their legal rights. Because what ICE tries to do is that they rely on people not knowing their rights in order to enter buildings, in order to search workplaces, etc.
Now, to make things even more crazy, AOC is doubling down. She reposted that interview to her X page and said, maybe she's going to be in trouble now. Maybe he can learn to read. The Constitution would be a good place to start. So AOC thinks she's in the right. Tom Homan is just asking questions. You guys can leave your opinions down below. And just so you are aware, it is definitely illegal to impede on an ICE investigation. And this is all an entire gray area.
President Trump has already saved thousands of lives just by the people he's kept out of the country these last 3 weeks. Do you have any idea how many criminals, how many potential, how many security threats have been blocked and denied and prevented and deterred from even trying to enter the country? A 95% reduction in illegal crossings.
This is how wild the statistic gets. Our border crossings have not been this low since 60 years ago. This statistic alone is probably enough for a new presidential candidate to run on if he wanted to run a second term. Oh, and by the way, he did this only in like 4 weeks. That is the crazy part about all of this. So Stephen Miller is right. The potential amount of people who have been saved in the United States because of how low the border crossings are is probably a lot.
Let me just take a moment and explain what sanctuary policies are about. When communities trust law enforcement, victims and witnesses of crime come forward, arrests are made, criminals are taken off the streets. When the opposite happens, trust is eroded. People are fearful to report. We are all less safe. And this is why hundreds of cities and many states across our country have adopted sanctuary policies.
All right, so that's news to me. You can leave your comments down below. According to CNN, the reason why we have sanctuary cities is because they're safer and there is less crimes in regards to illegal immigrants. You can leave your comments down below if this is the first time you're hearing about this statistic.
Mr. President, you won the White House in part because of high inflation. If your tariffs make prices go up...
Excuse me, we haven't asked you to speak yet, please. Right?
All right, that was Caitlin Collins of CNN out of nowhere just interrupting in the middle of Donald Trump taking pictures, and that's why he said, please be quiet, nobody called on you. However, this is the new common theme, and I'm going to show you guys the evidence from political analysts or news anchors who don't like Donald Trump, being way more aggressive and using way harsher language.
I want to hear why, but do you think that calling Elon Musk a is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is a and I think that he's also harming the American public in an enormous way. And what I think is really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
Look, I would be a hypocrite if I said, well, I don't curse or I don't have a potty mouth, because at times I do, unfortunately. However, when did the news cycle become so comfortable either using the D word or saying we need to use real weapons against Elon Musk because this is a real threat? I would not be surprised if Elon Musk did challenge CNN to a lawsuit either for defamation or some sort of threat.
Scott, you have been sounding the alarm about what Musk is up to, but you also call, it's one of my favorite terms that you use, you say that we are following weapons of mass distraction.
Well, and corporations do this. Let's not talk about self-harming our teen girls. Let's talk about gender balance in the workplace. This is the ultimate strategy. The gulf of distraction is how I would call most of this stuff. There are three things that Musk wants here. One, money, two, money, and three, money. His net worth has gone up by about $150 billion, despite the fact Tesla sales are crashing between 20 and 70% across Europe, down 15% year on year.
I want to give you guys the big picture so you understand the context. If you are a news anchor on TV and you have the ability to move the needle when it comes to stocks and saying, well, Tesla's not doing that well, and you don't have the full information in front of you, Elon Musk does have every right to go after you, to sue you either for defamation or putting false claims out there, because that could hurt his company, and it probably does hurt his company in the small term. But either way, again, CNN is really comfortable going after Elon Musk, not providing all of the facts. However, MSNBC is doing the same thing, and Rachel Maddow might be in trouble.
Elon Musk has apparently somehow convinced the United States government, specifically the United States Department of State, that the taxpayers of the United States of America should spend $400 million buying, quote, armored Tesla production units. Isn't it great, and definitely not at all illegal or profoundly corrupt? Definitely not ripping us all off to pay themselves, right?
Donald Trump didn't give that contract to Elon Musk. Joe Biden gave it to him.
Now, to make things even more scary for MSNBC, and I hope they have a pretty big insurance policy, Elon Musk has sort of hinted he's going to do something about this, and he is well aware of what MSNBC's Rachel Maddow has said. But the issue is this news story is not only from MSNBC, or this narrative is not only from them, this is spread across the internet and other left-leaning either politicians or media personnel. It just so happens that Rachel Maddow is probably the most famous person to run with this news story. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's a pretty big deal when you make up a claim that strong that is not true. Again, when you make these little dents in Tesla stock or you try to ruin the momentum of a company, this is a massive deal in the United States.
That we're now in a full kleptocracy, and the shareholder value is a function of proximity to a corrupt president. This is about money. Notice how they just fired the inspector general who was investigating Musk. This is not everything that tech brothers do can be reverse engineered to one thing, and that is Benjamin's.
Look, I will actually agree with this news anchor that money can control a lot of things. However, it is absolutely insane to feel so confident on TV to single out Elon Musk and say, well, see, they fired the inspector general, so this means it's all about money and Elon Musk has all the power. That is why I don't know why these news anchors feel so confident in doing this and acting like they can't get sued for their actions and what they're saying. But the reason why I am highlighting all of this, it's not because I'm the biggest Elon Musk fan or the biggest Donald Trump fan. I'm just trying to show you guys what is currently happening in our political space.
My question was, by definition, they're not being transparent. They can continue to be successful.
What do you want them to do?
Provide data. If they're provide data that they have found people, everyone would want to know if someone has received kickbacks to the tune of tens of millions of dollars.
I don't disagree with you. I love the idea of data. I love the announcements. I love them putting out regular reports of what they're doing.
They have not.
And I love the idea of Congress also bringing them up to report to Congress on what they're finding, because ultimately Congress needs to be engaged in this as well. I have no problem with that, and I don't think they do either, and that's what I heard in his press conference yesterday.
Okay.
So I have actually talked about this clip before, and I do want to remind people that you can go look up everything about the Department of Government Efficiency. You can go over on X and see all of their updates, and also you can go over on their new website where they show you all of the receipts and all of the transparency. I've actually even said I might start a second channel with how much information is being brought out to the public and how transparent they really are, because I can't show you guys all of the updates. It's so much that we would make like 4 videos alone just from the daily updates from the Department of Government Efficiency.
I mean, are we okay with the government telling corporations how they can govern themselves?
There's nothing less conservative than that, and less of a Republican value.
So you're saying we should do away with the FCC?
No, I'm not saying we should do away with the FCC.
Is that the conservative view?
I'm saying that no government agency should be
stop this conversation right there, because I think it's so.
I mean, we're in the mood right now.
Scott, it's in such bad faith for you to take what she just said and then say you want to get rid of the FCC.
No, she said we should have less regulations. This is a regulatory agency, and what are they supposed to do?
That's not at all what she said.
I want you guys to go look this statistic up because it's rather wild. Overall, a majority of Americans find it favorable or they like what Elon Musk is doing. And not only that, they don't see this as government overreach or a constitutional crisis. They don't see it as that. To include myself, I like what Elon Musk is doing. Let me know if you do as well.
Any reasonable person would look at it and say,
it's money laundering.
This is objectively ridiculous, and it doesn't meet the foreign policy aims of this administration or our national interests.
Do we shut the entire thing down?
And I don't think anybody has a problem. Truthfully, Bakari, I don't think many Americans would have a problem with saying, okay, we have money, lots of money going out the door. We need to identify what's going where. Is this helping us? Is this hurting us? And is this technically ridiculous? And that's what they're doing.
I think that's exactly what people would expect that would be happening, except that's not what's happening.
That's what I'm agreeing with. But that's what I'm agreeing with Scott with. Because
what's happening.
Now, I want to point this out. It's not all Democratic leaders have this issue with DOGE. We're just seeing specific ones like Elizabeth Warren, AOC, Omar. You have these candidates or Democratic leaders who are standing out more than others. And by the way, even some conservatives. So I just want to make sure you guys realize there are left-leaning politicians out there who are even like, hey, this is not a bad thing. What's the issue?
It was surreal, but I got to tell you, I know what you're not showing here. Musk gave 7 specific examples off the top of his head of where the corruption and fraud were. I know you didn't play the clips. He was talking about a contractor that had a 3-month contract. He was paid for 20 years. He was talking about welfare benefits that were being paid to someone that was technically 150 years old. He was talking about line items in the Treasury that had no justification.
There's no any he doesn't present any actual evidence.
Well, he's standing there in the Oval Office. Do you expect him to come in with 10,000 pages? And I have to be clear, to complain about this administration about transparency, when this president takes open questions on a daily basis, yet Joe Biden didn't show up for a press conference this 6 months, is insane. These guys are being extremely transparent. They don't have to sit there and take the questions, but they do. It's all on the website. It's all out there.
It's not transparency to say things that have no factual background. I mean, to say we're cutting, we've found $1 billion or $1 trillion in waste with no specifics, that's just talk. That's not transparency.
It's 23 days in here, guys. 23 days. You were talking about $2.3 billion that was saved last year. These guys are saving $2.3 billion a day.
Right, but
it's incredible.
That's what they're saying.
I apologize again for the longer clips, but I want to show you this is a massive issue in our country. On one side, you have a ton of people, the majority of Americans saying, what's the issue here? Why are you saying this is illegal? We voted for this. But then on the flip side, you have the minority group saying, whoa, he can't do that. Anderson Cooper using the D word again. That's like a CNN thing, I guess. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about all of this if you're still watching. This is still a very common theme, that DOGE cannot be doing this. It's a constitutional crisis. Why are they doing this, et cetera, et cetera.
Congresswoman, did you learn anything from today's hearing that will help you or Elon Musk or anyone eliminate government waste?
Absolutely. First of all, it's great to be with you, Jake. I do want to point out that not even the Republicans' own witnesses decided to try to defend what Elon Musk has done thus far. Instead, all of the witnesses talked about things that we've been advocating for, such as making sure that we can modernize our technology so that we can root out those fraudsters that are able to attack us, because basically we are still living in the Stone Ages.
That congresswoman has been appearing more and more and more on CNN and MSNBC. And by the way, Scott Jennings has pressed her really bad into a corner over the LA fires. She's never came back to actually face a real debate. So I'll just leave it at that. If you guys know who that congresswoman is, you know what she's all about. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the support. Hope you guys enjoy your day or night or wherever you're at. Thank you guys for everything. See you later.